Well, welcome everyone. We're so excited that you're here with us on this Wednesday afternoon. Hayden and I are here from Forvis to talk to you about how to get your foot in the door with Forvis in your career and answer all the questions hopefully that you have. We saw that some people had them on the registration form. So if you have questions, we encourage you to put them in the Q&A session like Brandon said, and we'll have a session at the end for questions and hope to answer everything you might want to know about Forvis. So we will start it off with introductions about ourselves. I'm Natalie Boyles, and I am a senior campus recruiter here at Forvis. I've been with the firm for almost 4 years. I went to University of Mississippi and have an accounting degree, started my career in audit, and have been in recruiting about 4 years after transitioning from audit. And nowadays I sit in Birmingham, Alabama. Hayden, I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, my name is Hayden Duplashane. I am a campus recruiter. I sit in our Houston office. Been here for almost coming up on a year now. Have a background in higher education. Previously worked at the University of Houston in the business school. So happy to still be in Houston, happy to still get to recruit some of those students that I worked with beforehand. But love Forvis and happy to be here and talk to you guys a little bit more about who we are and everything. So
awesome. Well, I think without further ado, here's a video about the creation of Forvis.
Forvis was created by the merger of BKD and DHG, a merger of equals that creates the scale and scope of a dynamic top 10 professional services firm while continuing our people-first legacy. We recognize that to achieve our forward vision, we need talented team members who are passionate about providing unmatched client experiences. As a new national firm, we have an exciting opportunity to rewrite the next chapter of our proud and shared legacies. Whether you're a student new in your career or an experienced professional, we invite you to join us on our journey as a future-focused firm. You'll be part of an employee experience that is centered on career mobility, professional development, inclusion, opportunity, and the well-being of our people. Our future is brighter than ever, and we want you to be part of it. Check out the many career opportunities, and we hope you'll join us to be part of our forward vision.
That was a little bit from our CEO, Tom Watson. As he mentioned, the goal of the creation of Forvis was built upon the strong legacies of BKD and DHG, firms you may have been familiar with, in your previous recruiting cycles. But we've now come together as the 8th largest U.S. firm, and we have a lot of great shared resources. We have offices all over the country in the UK and the Cayman Islands. And we're really excited to build this legacy, keep these legacies going together as Forvis with this forward vision. So yes, like the people first legacy. Thanks, Blaine. Yes, so as Tom mentioned in the video, Forvis is really dedicated to people first, our forward vision, and unmatched client experience. So I know Hayden and I have seen a lot of that throughout our careers here at the firm, that our people really come first. We have a chief people officer. We have a lot of people that are instrumental in making sure that the careers of our people are what come first. And then also this forward vision. I'm sure you hear a lot in your accounting classes about the changing accounting industry and what it's going to look like going forward. And so Forvis is really focused on this forward vision of the accounting industry, what it looks like to be a top 10 firm in the country. So, whether that means focusing on innovation, we have entire groups that are focused on audit innovation, tax innovation, data analytics, all sorts of cool things. And then also forward vision goes back to people first. We noticed that people are really what's at the heart of these accounting firms. And so we want to make sure we're people first as we look forward into the future. And then also most importantly is unmatched client experience. So as a professional services firm, what our professionals do every day is help our clients solve their problems. So whether it's audit, tax, or advisory problems, that's what their jobs are. And so we want to make sure that we have a great client experience for everyone who encounters Forvis in the marketplace. Yep, so I kind of touched on a couple of these things in the beginning here. So we're the 8th largest firm now with our merger. We have 530 partners and principals across the firm. We have 70 markets that we serve geography wise, 10 plus industries. So we really go to market as an industry focused firm. But as a new professional in your career, we have all these great industries that you'll get to try out different industries as you start your career. So you're never pigeonholed in one industry. You get the chance to try work in different industries. And then as you move towards that manager or above level, you kind of start to specialize in one of these industries that we have here at Forvis. And then also, so we have over 5,500 employees, and we're in 28 states, the UK and the Cayman Islands. We often joke we'd really like the HR conferences to be in the Cayman Islands, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But we're holding out hope. So again, here's a map of all of our different locations. We got to see in the chat where all of you are from. So hopefully where you are right now is where one of our offices are located, or where you're interested in living when you graduate. So with that, I believe I'm passing it over to Hayden.
That is correct. Awesome. So professional affiliations, one that I really want to kind of point out to you guys today is that we are a part of Praxity. So what this is basically a global alliance of accounting firms all over the world who kind of work together when we need some advice or some help. So kind of going back to our client first experience and wanting to make sure that we offer the best experience we can. If we've got clients who have business or tax returns or things that are in other countries that maybe we don't operate in, we can call in to one of our alliance firms who specialize at that. So if they've got business in England, we'll reach out to our firm in England who can kind of help us with returns, paperwork, things like that. So making sure that we do very well at what we know, and if we don't aren't the experts in that, then we can reach out to these people all over the world and continue to offer our clients the best possible service we can. So going on to our industries that we have, commercial products, financial services, we really cover most of the gambit. One that I think is really cool is that we actually have an entire industry dedicated to dealerships. We have such a substantial amount of clients in the dealership space that we kind of move them out of our commercial products and into their own industry so that we can, give some more resources and time to that specific area and continue to grow in that area. So that's something that I think is really cool and new that's happened as we've merged and become the 8th largest firm. So employee experience, as an associate or as an intern as well, you can experience career mobility that goes, straight up. So if you come in tax and that's where you want to go and you want to take the partner track all the way up, there's definitely a defined space for that. If you come in audit or tax and, maybe international tax starts to sound interesting or forensic valuations, we're happy to have that conversation. And once the opportunity arises, move you over. So we don't ever want to lose an employee just because, there's a shift in their career space. And so we're happy to move you over into different business lines and everything like that. So, upwards and within the different business lines, career mobility wise. Professional development, that really starts at the beginning, I think, when you go to your new hire training. Interns will go to a week-long training as well. And you'll go and really just kind of learn the basics that you need to know, obviously our systems, processes, and things like that. But I think another cool thing about that is that you're also meeting your group of associates or interns who will potentially be going through this career of public accounting with you that you'll see at level training and just kind of throughout your career with Forvis. And then speaking of that, you do each time, you get promoted and everything, you'll go to a level training that, as your career progresses, there's different things that you need to know or, skills that you need to develop. And these level trainings are meant to help you get there and kind of bridge whatever gap there might be in between that. So we're offering constant development, constant growth for you, as well as through our coaching and mentorship opportunities as well. From an inclusion standpoint, we, I think, pride ourselves in being very inclusive and diverse group of people. We have a lot of different initiatives that Natalie will kind of jump into in a little bit. We offer a lot of different scholarships for various student organizations and national organizations as well. So opportunity. I've been telling students pretty much since this spring that I think this is a great time to become a part of Forvis. I think the next couple of years, as we continue to grow, even more so than before when we were both two separate companies, the amount of opportunity that's going to come out of that, whether it be new locations, new roles, new business lines, whatever that might be, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in the next couple of years. And so it's a great time to kind of jump in and be a part of that. And then employee well-being. So we really are trying to be employee focused and make sure that you're getting that well-being taken care of. I know with public accounting, there's ebbs and flows in terms of the workload and everything. So I think we're trying to take those steps to make sure that when the workload is not as much, that you have that space, that autonomy, that freedom to take care of yourself, whether that be taking vacation, working from home, whatever it is that might be. So there's a lot of new policies that are coming out for that as well that I think are just continuing to make that space a little bit better.
Awesome. Yep. So Hayden touched on it a little bit, but inclusion is definitely really important to the firm. And I know Tom actually mentioned it in the video as well. So Forvis diversity and inclusion and equity is something that we are committed to improving the human experience through respect, belonging, and equity here at the firm. So we have, like you mentioned, a great diverse group of individuals here at the firm, and we want to make sure that we're fostering this inclusive environment in the workplace. So if we'll go to the next slide, we've got a little bit of how we do that here at the firm. So we have 9 inclusion networks, different, I think organizations call them different things, employee interest groups. We call them inclusion networks here at the firm. So we have each of the ones listed over there on the left. I've had the opportunity to be a member of a lot of the different networks. So you're encouraged to join the groups that you associate with or groups you want to learn more about and become an ally for those individuals as well. So the African American Network, Asia Pacific Islander Network, Emerging Leaders Network. I helped kind of get that one off the ground about 3 or 4 years ago. And that's for those who are new in their career. So I think that's really great for our campus level candidates as well, who are, we have panels on what professionalism looks like, what career mobility looks like, different ways to get involved within Forvis. So that's kind of what that emerging leaders group is focused on. We have Enabled, we have Forvis Veterans, Latin American Network, Parents Network. That's a cool one for me as well. I recently am a parent, and so that's really helpful to have that group of people to talk about, how you can be a great parent and a great employee here at Forvis at the same time. The Pride Plus group and the Women Forward group. So a lot of great groups. And then the other cool thing about our inclusion networks is that if you don't see a group there and you think we should have one, you can start your own. So that's kind of how the Emerging Leaders group started a couple years ago. And so you're encouraged to find a partner who will sponsor the network at the firm and get that started. So definitely cool ways to foster this community, allyship, and advocacy. Also, we invest in national and local organizations. So if you have one of these groups on your campus, likely if it's in, kind of close to one of our markets, we're probably involved with it. So the National Association of Black Accountants, I know there's local school chapters, and then we've also done stuff on the national level. I think Hayden actually went to the conference this year. And then we've got the Association of Latino Professionals for America, Ascend, Out and Equal, and the PhD Project. So all things that Forvis really wants to help all those organizations as well. And then again, we have growing our professionals through mentorship, coaching, and sponsorship opportunities. And all of this can be found in our annual diversity and inclusion report that our inclusion and diversity team works really hard to put together each year at the firm. So it's a little bit about that. We've got one more slide. Yeah, and so just overall, we like to foster an unmatched inclusive experience for all.
Awesome. Yeah. So kind of specifically touching on our internship experience at Forvis, you will be getting exposure to audit, tax, or consulting engagements. We really do treat our interns like full-time associates, and I don't mean that we just throw you into the fire and we're like, figure it out. But you're getting real work. You're doing real stuff that our first year associates are doing. So from a learning standpoint, you're really getting to experience what it's like to work in public accounting, which I think is great, because that's what the internship's for, to kind of get in there and see if you like it or not. Like she mentioned earlier, we explore different industries and service specialties. So we really do try and make an effort to make sure that you are on different industry clients throughout your experience, and you're not just doing this one thing for this one client the whole time. We really try and diversify your work as much as we possibly can during your time with us, so that you can really get a feel for all the different areas. And then, basically kind of once you start with us, that'll be what it is until you kind of start to, specialize and niche yourself into a specific industry. But we really encourage you to really try out different clients in different industries before you make a decision, to make sure that that's kind of like the place that you want to go and end up in. Work alongside our team of professionals on real client assignments. Like I said, it's real work that you're doing. We're not having you go get coffee, and if it is, we're going with you, kind of thing. You're not printing out paperwork. You're doing real work for us, and stuff that our associates are doing as well. Gain experience to help plan your career path. Like I said, this is really your chance to test the waters and see if this is what you want to do with your life, or at least the first couple of years of your life. We try and get you in front of clients and client meetings as well. So really try and immerse you into all that is public accounting as much as possible during your internship with us. And then of course, get to know Forvis as a whole in depth. You can go to recruiting events and do all these things, but when you get to the office and really start working with everyone, that's when you really kind of get the true authentic feel for what a company is. So giving you a chance to really dive into that and experience that firsthand. And then lots of office and community activities. I feel like public accounting, work hard, play hard. So we make sure that we have some fun stuff outside of the office that we have programmed for you guys during your internship. Just to kind of go over a couple pictures. So, we have intern activities. So we did axe throwing. We're really dangerous this spring with our interns. We did axe throwing, and then we did broom ball, which was basically poorly planned hockey on ice. So that was really interesting. Kept it really fun for everyone, but no one got hurt. Everyone kept all their arms and legs. Nothing broke. So that's good. We do a lot of intramural leagues as well throughout the year. And then this bottom left one, we have a shuffleboard in our office, in the Houston office. And so in the middle of busy season, our managing partner had us do a shuffleboard tournament. So throughout the week, every day during the lunch, we would go and do a couple rounds of the tournament. And then Friday in the afternoon, late afternoon, we did our championship round, and then had a little happy hour and social after that. So really try and make sure that we plug in some fun into your internship, and it's not just all work for you. So keeps it fun. Life during your first year at Forvis. So like I mentioned earlier, comprehensive onboarding. So you will go to camp or new hire training for a week right when you start. And you'll learn a lot about Forvis, a lot about our systems, processes. Again, it's a great opportunity as well to meet your starting class that you will in theory be going to these, you guys will be getting promoted around the same time, going to trainings around the same time. So it's really cool to be able to connect with future colleagues from all over the country. And then that doesn't obviously stop right after training. It's constant training for you guys. I had someone the other day say that public accounting is very much like an apprenticeship career. So constantly people are here to help you and guide you and answer your questions. There's no such thing as too many questions. Like, we really encourage you to get involved. And if you don't know what to do or don't have an answer, like, let's talk through it. Let's learn about it. CPA and other licensure exam incentives. I'll kind of touch on that in a little bit. People first benefits. So we really do pride ourselves in our benefits package that we offer. I know that we are revamping those as well. So they'll be even better than they are now. So I'm excited to get some more information on that in these coming months. But what I feel like our leadership team is doing a really good job of right now, as a top 10 public accounting firm, I think there are expectations for a lot of different things. Balance, benefits, compensation, all of these things. And I think our leadership team is doing a very good job of making sure that we kind of talk the talk as a top 10 public accounting firm, and kind of, improving our benefits package is just one of those ways that they're doing that. Work-life balance. So we've actually moved to a flex time off policy, so you don't accrue PTO anymore. It's basically, you know, when you need to take time off, take time off. You don't need to worry that you have to wait till next month, because that's when the rest of your PTO gets there and you can take the week off. You know, it's just a matter of communicating with your in charges, with your supervisors and everything like that. So again, in a space, in an industry where the workload is not evenly distributed throughout the year, this gives you some more autonomy to be able to take the time that you need when it's not as busy, and you know, regroup, recuperate and all that kind of stuff, so that you know, it hopefully fights burnout and things like that. And then mentoring and coaching. So, you know, you'll get a buddy and a coach when you're an intern. Your buddies, I always tell students, the buddy is there to answer all your, what you think are stupid questions that you don't want to ask some manager came and asked you to do something and you don't know anything that they just said to you. So you go and message your buddy and ask them, like, what does this mean? They're really there to help, you know, acclimate you into the office, into the group, and guide you throughout your internship experience. And then once you start full time, that coaching really, you know, goes strong, and they're there to help you in your career path. So wherever that leads you, I'll say that too. Just because your career might end up having you leave Forvis, obviously we want everyone to work here forever and everyone make partner and everything, but that's not everyone's career path. But that doesn't mean that we can't help you get there. So even if you decide, hey, you know, this industry that I've been working in is really interesting to me, and I think I kind of want to go and work on the other side of things, your coach is going to be there to help guide you and make a plan on how to get prepared, so that when you do go, and you get that maybe a one job title above what you maybe would have gotten. So it's full support and backing from the firm from the moment you arrive to the moment that you leave. And this is just a quick overview of a career progression here at Forvis with our titles and everything, as well as your typical years of experience in each of these roles. One thing I'll say is the culture here at Forvis is not competitive. It's not you or them. Everyone's got their own path, their own timeline of when they're doing things. So there are some people who are workhorses, and they're going to come in and they're going to work, and they're going to work a lot. And that's just what they want. That's what they want out of their career. They might have a different work-life balance definition than you might. And they might get promoted a little bit sooner, but that doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that they're better than you. You know, there's people who want to have a little bit more balance in their life and don't necessarily want to always work all the time. And that's fine. There's no, you aren't looked down on. You aren't like, well, why aren't you staying later? And why aren't you doing this? And why aren't you doing that? Everyone's got their own career path. And you have the support of the firm, whatever it might be. So I think that that's really nice to be able to come to work and not feel like you're like constantly competing to the next level and all this kind of stuff. So I think that's a great thing about Forvis as well. And then I did want to quickly touch on the CPA exam support. So I don't want to brag, but we do, I would say, put our money where our mouth is. You know, we are a CPA firm. We do ask that you are CPA eligible before you start full time with us. And we always, of course, will encourage you to get your CPA before you start. It's just always more challenging when you have a full-time job to study for those exams, take those exams, everything like that. And with that, I think, you know, we try and give you as much support as possible. So once you sign full-time with us, we will provide you with Becker, the study guide, free of charge to you. So as soon as you sign full-time, we can get that over to you. No matter if you have a year left of school, 2 years left of school, doesn't matter. And you can take that and use that, that study guide to help plan. And then if you do pass all of your exams before you start with us, you do get a pretty hefty bonus, $7,500. And then within 1 year of your employment, it'll be $5,000. And then it's $1,500 within the first 2 years. Although I do think that might roll off here in the next year or so. But I just think we really support our staff and future staff in this. We do value the CPA, of course. We're a CPA firm, a public accounting firm, and we really try and support you as much as possible in getting that stuff done.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's great. No, I would echo what Hayden says too. I think it's very important to get your CPA as soon as you can. And while you're still in the study mood of school, you should do it before you start working because it gets just so much harder. So, and again, though, we really support that and we encourage you to get the CPA, and then every year you don't even have to like think about it. Your CPE credits, the firm just schedules those all out for you so you can maintain your license once you're here. I maintain mine, and it's really nice to be able to have all those opportunities to keep my license up to date. And so, okay, so that's a little bit about Forvis. Hopefully that answered some of your questions and gave you the opportunity to learn more about what Forvis is about. But we are really excited that you're here, and we want to connect with you, and we want to get you and find ways for you to apply to our careers. So in the chat, I put our links for our internship opportunities and our associate opportunities in both, or in all of tax, audit, and advisory. So you should see on both of those links, there's a list of all of our different positions that are available right now for the application. I know some of our spring 2024 applications may not be out there yet. They are coming soon. So if you're already thinking to 2024, we are excited that you're excited about it, and we'll be posting those opportunities soon. Hayden, what else did I miss on this one?
I think that's it. And we obviously have roles all over our different business lines. So feel free to look on our website, and honestly, if you want to reach out to me or Natalie and say, hey, like I looked this up and it looks like a really cool opportunity, can you get me connected with the right person? We're happy to do that. So plenty of opportunities out there, and happy to help connect you guys as much as possible. So
yeah. And I meant to add that Sasha, I believe, asked a great question, and that was, what are some ways that you guys can prepare yourself to be a great candidate for a career here at Forvis? And so obviously a lot of our tax and our audit roles, like Hayden mentioned, we do want students to be CPA eligible when they would start full-time, but you don't have to be CPA eligible already when you do an internship. So we want to have you kind of on the right path, taking those accounting courses that are going to be crucial for the CPA exam. But our interns are usually a year and a half out from being totally CPA eligible. So whether that means you're a junior, but you're going to go back to your senior and your grad school year, kind of doing that internship and then going back to school for another year is usually our path for tax and audit. And then advisory is a little bit different. We have a lot of different advisory groups, which you'll see on the career site there. So we have, I believe, like maybe 16 to 20 different kinds of advisory work we do. And the advisory groups are changing each and every day as we find new needs in the marketplace. And so those positions may not necessarily be totally accounting focused. So if you're a business major, data science, finance, management, information systems, different things like that, you might be eligible for those positions as well. But we just really encourage students to, taking those course credits, but then also just kind of be involved in extracurricular things, whether it's, honor societies on campus, different leadership positions on campus. Just being involved and being a well-rounded student, I think, is really important as you look to your career here at Forvis. And we want to encourage that, kind of like we talked about, we're people first. We want to make sure that we have a work-life balance so that we want to see that in college you're doing different things too, that when you come to the workplace, you'll also be involved in a lot of different things. I don't know if Hayden, you have anything else that you think would be sets them apart as they apply?
I would say one big thing too is just get connected with, whatever office you're interested in working in. Try and get connected with people in that office. That really does kind of, if it's between, we get a lot of resumes, a lot of applications. And so when we can put a name, a face, anything to a resume, that really does help us, be able to make those decisions and get you connected and bring you in for an office visit and everything. So definitely don't undervalue the opportunity of being able to just get in touch with people in this office who can answer your questions about what it's like to work in that office. What work did they do? These people do the job that in theory you're hoping to be in 2, 3, 5 years. So, feel free to ask them those questions. And I doubt that there's many people in our firm who would not be happy to at least hop on a, 15-minute call with you and answer some of your questions.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm looking, we have some questions rolling in the Q&A session here. So please put your questions there as well, or I believe Brandon can take you off mute if you want to ask your question live. But one question was, is there any help with relocation cost in regards to your internships? So our internships are paid. So you would be compensated for your internship, whether you do that internship in what we call the spring, so like January through March or April, kind of during that accounting busy season, or summer internships. All of those are paid internships. So we wouldn't necessarily, maybe not relocation costs, but they're paid internships.
So there's one, at what point could an employee choose to travel to different Forvis offices? So there's really, if I understand your question correctly, it's basically about potentially transferring into a different office. And I apologize if you hear the background. There's a very bad storm rolling in, so it's very loud. I apologize. But yeah, there's really not a timeline on that. So, you know, we've got interns who intern with us and for whatever reason need to transfer to another office or want to work in another office. And that's, you know, fine with us. You know what I mean? Like if you come in and you do a great job, we want you to work for us. If that's in our office, if that's in the Dallas office, in the Atlanta office, wherever it is, we'd love for you to be part of the company. So there really is no timeline on that. It's just kind of based off, you know, opportunity and availability, I would say. So if that office is happy and able to take on, you know, another associate, senior two, whatever it might be, and then it's just a matter of, you know, lining everything up to get you transferred over. But I can tell you, we had someone, his wife got a really fantastic job opportunity in New York. And so now he works in our New York office. So we had an intern whose fiance got into PA school in Colorado. And so he works in our Denver office now. So it definitely happens all the time. And we're happy to, like I said, make it happen. You know, we want you to work for us. So we'll work with you as much as possible.
Absolutely. Another question I see is how important is GPA? We do have a GPA requirement. It is a 3.0 right now. And then another question, are we looking to expand into more geographical areas? I believe, you know, they haven't, right now we're kind of definitely looking at different geographies, and the firm, you know, wants to continue to grow. And that's not really a big reason of why BKD and DHG did merge, is because we have a lot of, each firm had geographies that the other did not. So we now have a much larger footprint across the United States. And so I think that's definitely, you know, down the road as part of our forward vision, we want to expand into other markets as well.
Do interns get hired on even as part-time after their internship while still in school? So what I'd say is that it is probably a little bit more of a case-by-case basis, based on the office, based on your location, everything like that. I know that we do have a tax intern coming in the spring who will be doing part-time. And then she's going to start with us in September full-time. So it does happen, and there is opportunity for that, but it'll be kind of a case-by-case basis based off your office and the needs that they have for whatever time you're wanting to intern.
A great question. What potential does Forvis foresee with the new CPA exam in 2024? I know that's going to be a big change. I actually work a lot with Becker CPA Review, like Hayden mentioned, that we offer that to all of our full-time associates when they sign their full-time offer. So, you know, you might be, after your internship, it might be your senior year and you still have 2 years left of school, but you'll have access to Becker. So as the CPA exam continues to evolve and change, especially in 2024 with the big change to going to different actual tests. I'm not sure if anyone's heard about it, but they're going to really change up the format. All the materials that we provide will definitely, you know, change and evolve and update as we need them to. So you'll have definitely all the study materials necessary. But I think it's going to be a great opportunity to kind of, you know, continue to change the CPA profession, and kind of, again, with what we're moving towards is that forward vision and meeting the needs of the industry. So it'll definitely be interesting as it changes. And I know a lot of you in this room right now will probably be affected by that change. So
there's one, two. So what is the hiring process? So again, I think basically what we'll do is, it says how long after I apply will someone contact me? Hopefully soon. You know, give us some grace. We do get a lot of applications and we're on campus a lot. But we do try and get back to those who have applied as soon as we possibly can. Interview process is, you know, we'll reach out to you. You might do a screening. We might bring you in for interviews. We might get you scheduled for on-campus interviews. But you'll go through the interview process, and then, you know, we'll kind of go from there and decide if we want to make you an offer or not. I would say, you know, it's not, you know, jumping through a bunch of hoops. We don't have 7 rounds of interviews. You know, I think not necessary, especially for like an internship opportunity. So I like to think that it's pretty straightforward. You know, we'll have you interview with a couple of partners or leadership, and then, you know, kind of go from there. So pretty transparent, pretty straightforward interview process.
Yeah, and one thing that can help the hiring process too, like Hayden mentioned earlier, was definitely trying to connect with either your recruiter in your local area, or if, you know, we might be at on-campus events, please, you know, stop by. We'd love to meet with you at those events. It definitely helps us put a face to the name and help go along with your application. But if we may not be on your campus, we can definitely connect virtually as well to talk with you about your application. Okay, another question. How important is prior experience, previous internships for an internship position with Forvis? I often like to say that, you know, most of the time, you know, accounting internships, your first one might be during that junior or senior year. So you may not have any experience as a public accounting intern, and that's totally okay. Oftentimes our interns, it's their first taste of public accounting, and that's, you know, kind of the norm. But I would say too that, you know, any kind of experience you have is really relevant. So whether it's, you know, maybe you worked at a local business in your hometown and you have some bookkeeping experience, that's really key, and that's going to be really helpful as you go and you help your clients, and kind of, you know, knowing their side of the work is really helpful. So any experience you have can definitely be applied to public accounting. Even, you know, just client serving experience, you know, whether you've worked in retail and you've helped clients with different things, you know, it can be applied to public accounting as well, I think.
Is it more difficult to get hired on without an internship, work full-time in finance, and I'm in grad school? I would say it just kind of depends on what experience you do have. You know, we have some people that we have, you know, hired on full-time that haven't necessarily had true traditional audit internships, but might have a different background, again, like in something similar like finance. So it really kind of depends on what exactly your background is. You know, if you're getting your master's degree, going to grad school to get your CPA eligibility, then I think we're open to hiring. We're open to hiring good people and hard workers and people who we feel like will come in and be willing to learn and eager to learn as well. So I would say, obviously, I always tell the more relevant experience you have, the better, but that is not by any means like a threshold that you have to meet. I think it's on a case-by-case basis and based on a lot of different factors. So any experience that you have from any different area is always better than none. So there's definitely still opportunities, and we're still definitely open to potentially hiring you.
Yeah, absolutely. We've gotten a lot of questions about remote opportunities, and I will say we here at Forvis, we do have some opportunities where, you know, there might be some need for someone who's virtual, or you might be able to do that role from a virtual location that we may not have an office in. But a lot of our roles are what we call hybrid. And so that means that, you know, you might get to work from home 2 days a week and go to the office or to the client site 2 or 3 days a week. You know, each team kind of functions differently, but a lot of our roles are kind of what we call that hybrid model. But we do definitely have some that are totally remote. Not a ton at the campus level, but we definitely have a few.
So Jeremy said, how does Forvis promote the best ethical practices for its employees? I think that really starts with just like the people who we look to hire. I think it's a character thing. Kind of internally what we do, our client experience, our unmatched client experience, I think there's a lot of values and things that we abide by, and we make sure that we are not doing anything shady, that we're you know, all above the book and everything like that. You know, if there's clients who are doing some questionable things, then that's something we might need to readdress if we want to keep them as a client or not. So I think it's really goes into the fabric of our firm. And again, I think something that helps with that is not having a culture of competition where you would be motivated to do something unethical, to get ahead, to do this, to get wherever. So I think having that, you know, not having that as a part of our culture helps with that as well. So
this is a great question. Natasha said, in regards to the internship, if I'm not sure which specialization I want to focus on, audit, tax, or advisory, how do I go about gaining experience in all the areas so I can decide? So I think there's a couple different answers to that. So I think one of the biggest things is while you're still in school, definitely just take opportunities to talk to your professors or any recruiting opportunities, talk to professionals who are in audit, tax, and advisory. Kind of just really take those opportunities to learn more about what they do on a day-to-day basis and kind of what roles look like in those different specializations. And that can kind of help you decide maybe where you want to start your internship. Again, an internship is a great opportunity to, in a way, try it out and see if you like it. I think a lot of our offices too are open to, kind of some crossover where you might be an audit intern, but you might get the opportunity to try out a tax engagement if you raise your hand and say, you're interested. We actually have some internships as well that are listed that you do actually get to try both audit and tax. So there are some of those opportunities in certain office locations as well. Hayden, I don't know if you have any other thing on that, but I think that would be my two answers to that.
I am hoping, and I think there will potentially be some more opportunities that are a little bit more hybrid, trying a little bit of both, because, you guys are most of the time are asked very early on to decide on a career path. And I know that that's very hard. And you're like, I haven't even had an audit or tax class. I don't really know. So, I hope that in the future, we're able to find ways to kind of give you a little taste of both of those business lines and everything. But there are some offices who do it, but right now it is going to be on a office by office basis.
Yeah, I know I chose audit when I was very young in my college career, had not taken an audit or a tax class, and really just because a professor asked like silly questions of, do you want to travel more? Then maybe you should do audit, but anymore, that's not even the case. So I know it's really hard to know, but we're happy to talk to you about it more, and our professionals are as well.
Someone asked basically about the Becker access and everything. So that is also a part of being an employee at Forvis. So it's not only for those who go through the internship process or whatever. Anyone who comes to work at Forvis and does not have their CPA yet, and doesn't yet have access to Becker, we're happy to get you that access. So there's no timeline or any kind of other stipulation other than you not already having access and not having your CPA. Because if you have it, you obviously don't need Becker. So yeah, anyone in our firm is able to get access to that. Someone asked, if they graduate in December, would it be better to go for an internship in the spring or entry level? Again, I think that would kind of depend on your background currently, what experiences you might have or not have. We do have people who will graduate and then intern with us. And then, if they're CPA eligible and everything, we'll just kind of roll off into full-time associate role. So again, it'll kind of depend on, if you don't have any work experience or anything like that, it might make sense to, do your internship, get that experience, and then, from both ends, kind of just reevaluate after your internship if this is right for you. If you've got enough, background and experience to be brought on full time, then that's also an opportunity as well. So just kind of depends. I don't know if you have an answer, Natalie.
And I would just say the biggest thing with that is just make sure you communicate with your recruiter when your graduation date is. That's one of the biggest things that we struggle with, is we just need to know when you're going to graduate, when you're eligible for full-time hire, for an internship, that kind of thing. And that can kind of help us plan better, because as you can see, if you intern in 2023, you may not start until 2024, 2025. So we're always looking really far into the future with our hiring. So we just need to know your graduation dates and your plans.
You want to go first, Natalie?
I can. James with the hard questions. James says, I'm not sure if you guys can see the question, so I can read it. It says, what's the greatest challenge you faced in your role and how did you overcome it? I think it's a tough question. So I can answer maybe on the accounting side, since I actually worked in audit before I was in recruiting. I think one of the hardest things about the accounting profession is that when you actually get into, you've taken all the classes, the accounting, when you get into practice, it's a lot different in a day-to-day basis. And so, Hayden mentioned it's an apprenticeship model. So you're constantly learning, even when you get in the door with audit or tax. And so I think one of the hardest things, especially as an accounting minded person, is that you have to accept that you don't know everything. And so I think that's hard when you're starting out as a staff, to just accept that you don't know what you're doing most of the times, and you have to ask a lot of questions. So there's, I think one of the most important things is to know that it's okay to ask questions, and to know that you, especially as an intern, that you are not going to know everything. And so, I encourage you to, throughout the day, maybe keep track of your questions and, not bombard whoever you're working for, but just, find a way to kind of ask them, hey, when do you want me to ask my questions for you, and kind of keep a running list. But also with that, make sure you try to spin your wheels, you try to think of how you can solve these problems. And a senior or the staff you're working for is going to be a lot more receptive when you say, hey, I have this question. I'm kind of thinking this is how I'd answer it. But I wanted to check it with you. Just taking that initiative is really huge too. So
I will say, and here in Texas, my busy season also aligns with that of audit and tax. So I went through it with all of them. So I think that really helped me, get to, build relationships with everyone. Kind of going off what Natalie said, I didn't know, you have experiences and everything, but until you do that first busy season, that first round of everything, you don't know what you don't know. And so it was a lot of trying to figure out quickly and not being afraid to ask questions and ask for help, because that's what people are here to do, and they're here to help you and everything. So that was probably in my first year, the biggest challenge for me was just getting used to that and figuring out how to keep myself organized and be able to do a great job. So.
All right. Ethan asked, is there a common mistake that entry-level employees and interns make when first starting? I think kind of going on what I said, you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to know the answer to everything. And, I'm sure those individual mistakes are, kind of more specific to audit or tax or advisory, different things. But one thing I will say is that I think what's really crucial, even if we talk about all these different data analytics platforms and Tableau and all these different things, it's great to know those, but really what's the most important, I think, as you start out is knowing Excel. So take every opportunity you can in school to make sure you focus on Microsoft Excel and knowing, kind of any tricks and pivot tables and all that kind of stuff. It really is helpful as you get into the profession. You don't have to know Tableau, I promise. For now, you just know Excel. That was a good question though. Got a lot of really good questions. I really appreciate everyone asking questions.
Yeah.
We like questions.
Yes. Appreciate the involvement for sure.
Is it helpful having prior QuickBooks experience? Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, any kind of experience you have with QuickBooks or bookkeeping or working, for a business, it's definitely helpful as you go in as the auditor, the tax person, or the advisory person to know, kind of what the business side's doing. So any experience you have is great.
Awesome. Well, if any of you think of a question 5 minutes after this ends, please feel free to send us an email, connect with us on LinkedIn, anything. We're happy to talk with you a little bit more. Happy to answer any questions that you might have, and everything. So really appreciate your time, and thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, I really appreciate you being here with us.